Bueno. Hola amigos.
Ciao frate.
Hola. So we're here to have a discussion
Sir.
to make an impact
Ashuma.
with a strong voice.
Yes, sir.
And I think we should just present each other very quickly. I'm Giovanni and here's Jacobo. Jacobo is a fantastic friend, a very special friend, an enlightened person that really brings much joy and peace. And we have Krzysztof, another fantastic friend.
Ciao,
And Krzysztof is now running his content, how could we name it, his platform to share his wisdom. It's called Smilin Within,
Smiling within and without a reason.
and without a reason. Yes, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me as well.
Okay, so I had a question. These days I was thinking about questions, and
Only these days.
only
Before, not never.
I actually always have questions, but I have a question for you specifically,
For me.
Krzysztof, and I'm sure Hako will also be able to share some very meaningful insights.
Okay.
And the question is, you propose this idea of smiling within and without a reason.
Mhm.
And I'm fascinated from this idea because I believe that if you can do it, if you can smile within and be joyous without any external reason to do so,
Yeah.
I mean, and then I think you just won life. I think you're just really, it's a beautiful concept. And my question is that for my studies, for what I'm understanding of this world, it's really hard to smile without a reason. Usually we have a reason to be happy and to be smiling for. Maybe we have good friends, we have a good environment, our brains are healthy, our bodies are healthy, our muscle can move and therefore can produce the smile. So there's always a almost reason to it, let it be biological, mechanical, psychological.
Mhm.
So my question is, what do you mean with smiling without a reason? And is it actually possible to smile without a reason?
For answer, I will have a question for you.
Please.
So, bring the ball to the other side of the net here.
Mhm.
So you say that in your studies, it's you understand it's hard to smile without a reason because you study psychology, right?
Yeah.
So from a psychological standpoint and biology, that's why you come to the conclusion. And also remember yesterday you shared that what you're studying is it's mostly about suffering,
Yeah.
right?
It
And
is.
diseases and like a lot of negativity there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So based on your studies, that's
Yeah, I'm highly biased from
highly
what I
biased
read
that
every
it's
day.
hard to smile without a reason. Yes?
Yeah,
Because there's always some reason in the end.
exactly.
That's kind of your conclusion, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I will not say it's my conclusion, but it's just something I'm considering and
Yeah.
wondering about. I don't like that to be my conclusion. I'm always still open to, but yeah, it kind of gets me to think that sometimes there's actually always a reason to smile.
And do you sometimes, I still remember your question, I just have one more to you. So do you sometimes have moments where you are just happy just because you're alive?
Yes, I do have moments when I am just happy. I would say even more than happy. I'm just overall feeling blissful to be living. Not per se, let's go ahead.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's that kind of joyous expression, my happiness. But these other times where there's no particular reason, it's more just like, yeah, feeling this presence, feeling this aliveness, and being happy for it. Yeah, there's no much reason behind it. Maybe just the awareness I have of being alive and being here is the reason which makes me smile. Maybe Hako, do you have ever moments where you just smile without a reason?
I think so. I think if I were to answer the question for Krzysztof, I think in my perspective, what smiling without a reason means is more like having all the reasons and that
Mhm.
translating to no reason at all,
Yeah.
in the sense that you can find a reason in everything to smile, and everything can be a reason to smile, and therefore you don't need one because everything is a reason. That's how I would put
Oh.
it.
Wow.
Bro, I must say,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
it's actually a nice view. So there is actually a reason, but the reason is everything.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to look for a reason, because
Yeah.
if everything is by itself, yeah, already a reason to be smiling then.
Yeah. So 100%. I don't think I have to answer the question anymore. But still, since you asked me, like you both shared your views, and I also asked you, Joe,
Yeah.
if you have those moments where you are just grateful for it all, without the reason necessarily, but underneath it all, there might be reasons, like all the reasons in the world, which translates into no particular reason. But at the end of the day, it's about being grateful for being alive,
Mhm.
and having to experience all of that,
Mhm.
all of this life. So for me, that's kind of the answer was already given by both of you combined.
Mhm.
So just without the reason, meaning like I don't need, to get something necessarily, or something good. I
Mhm.
don't believe there is good or bad ever in anything, but something good to have a reason to smile. I'm just
Mhm.
say biking, and I just look around, and and I'm just smiling
Mhm.
within, and I think that's also the whole name is
Yeah.
smiling within. So when the sun is shining within, then also without, I feel like real change and real happiness is inside out, not outside in.
Mhm.
That's what I came to realize. So
Yeah.
yeah, that would be the explanation for my name, and I think we are on the same page here. Just like
Mhm.
grateful to be alive.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of a lot about this inside out experience of life.
Hmm.
I think we were talking about Michael Neal, also this nice coach talks about the inside out experience of life. Yeah. And do you believe, well, this is a bit of a clear cut answer, but do you believe everything is made inside, or is like reality is entirely created by ourselves, or is there something that is just there and out there, and it does not matter whether how we perceive it or not, it just is? You understood the question? It was really a big question. I need some follow
Yeah,
up.
I
Okay.
think I understand, but maybe a bit more
Yeah, I mean,
specific.
the question is, do we really create everything with our minds?
Mhm.
Do we really construct life in all of its facets, emotions, dreams, personality, whatever, within ourselves? Or is there actually something that does not need to be constructed from us to exist?
That makes me think of something I've been seeing lately.
Oh.
And it's very interesting, but then that goes to a question to you guys, because I don't know what to make of it. There's this guy called Jacobo Greenberg. He's a Mexican, uh, very famous Mexican scientist who used to study consciousness, and because of his findings, he wrote a few books and then he disappeared. He he nobody knows where he is. A few years ago, he disappeared. People say that he was taken by the government or something like that. I don't know. Nobody knows. But one of his findings was that in Spanish they call it the la teoría sintérgica. I think you would translate it as the synthergic theory or something like that. And it's that reality cannot be real unless it is observed by something or someone. So unless we if we were not observing this reality, it wouldn't it wouldn't be a reality because it's not observed by an observer, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So that takes me to the thought of, would this all exist if there was no one to observe it? If there was no one to
Experience.
to experience it.
Mhm.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
You go or I go?
You go.
I go. I feel like it's all just the evolution of consciousness, you know? And because we are here, it's because we were meant to be, and we are here to drive change and really connect more with our hearts and bring change in the world, like our generation. We talked earlier before off the camera, off the record, that that it's all about like progress, growth, right? And then, for example, our parent generations, grandparent generations, especially grandparents, especially yours as well, I'm sure, like they had to really work hard for survival, you know, build the foundation. So then to build on top of that with our parent generations, and we are there, we are here to go for the highest highs of the Maslow pyramid of needs, I believe, you know, which is love, belonging, self-actualization at the very, very top, you know, and realization of who we truly are. And everyone has their own answer to that question, because I don't feel like there's this nice quote, one of maybe many I'll share here, that we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are, you know. So I think it's individual perspective Shuma, matters a lot, and the subjectivity of experience, because I feel like we are there on this earth to experience who we are or who we are not. So then hopefully we realize who we are at the end of the day. And right here, right now is the best time for it, you know. And we are here to connect and reconnect with the source, I believe. So I believe it would exist with or without us. But since we are here for a reason. And like Earth would go on without us on their own natural course. Trees would grow anyway. But now we can grow with them, alongside them. That might be my answer, like my thoughts maybe on that.
So you will say that still, the perception of reality is something subjective, but it seems that it still goes on, whether or not you observe it. Reality still keeps going on. Trees keep on still growing. Is that what you?
Yeah, I believe that humans are not superior to any other life beings, like forms of life, you know.
Yeah.
We are one, but we're not the same. Not only with humans, but with everything that's around us. But now, then, because of the mind, that is all about control, about superiority, all about competition, all about us against them, all about me versus the world, and divisions. Then I believe, because people were more and more in their minds and ego, and really just, okay, this is me, this is it, that's it. There's nothing else, nada niente, nothing beyond that. There's only me and my head, and you know. But people realize that, you know, the people don't see beyond that, and then they started to feel superior to, let's say, animals, for example, you know, or to trees and all forms of nature, you know, all things. Humans feel like there is them, and then there is all the other life forms way they have control, you know, because they are superior, because they have the mind, they, you know, have control over this world, you know. I don't believe it's true.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I have another question for you guys, and I'm sure you'll be able to share many insights about this one. You mentioned before that your purpose, your subjective purpose, is to grow, to change, to drive change, to know who you are and who you are not. And I think that sometimes is really condenses well what also my purpose seems to be, to know myself. And then, you know, my question is, I think everybody has a different way to get to know themselves. So I'm curious, guys, how do you get to know yourself, your true deepest self? How is it that you do? Maybe you wanna start sharing if you.
Yeah, sure. I was. Thank you.
Thank
you. Yeah, I was thinking about this a few days ago, and it all came down to the thought that many of the deep reflections that one can have often come down to a few words as a conclusion, or maybe even one word. And those simple things that can seem so simple are actually, yes, simple because life is simple, but can also mean so much, I think. And that takes me back to what we were saying before. Reality, I think, to conclude what I was saying, is there, but it depends on how we observe it. How we observe it shapes the reality that we see.
Mm-hmm.
But it is there. It's just that the way you observe it might be different to the way I observe it. So therefore the realities that we see are different,
Mm-hmm.
but it is ultimately still there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't depend on us. So I think that's what I would say to the previous thing. But to this, many times I come down to just feel. Just let yourself feel, period. And once you stop for a second and watch all of these things, you watch the trees moving around, the leaves falling down in autumn, the grass moving with the wind, and the water in front of us kind of having some little waves and slowly coming towards us when a boat comes, and all of these things. Then you realize that you're actually one with all of this, and you're just here not as a separate being, but as part of all of this. And that helps you get to know yourself. I think that's a big part of it. I would also say balance is a big one as well. Finding a balance between being part of the system in which we live predeterminedly, but also realizing that there's more to that, and finding a balance between those two is very important to actually realize who you are. I think there's many things that all come down to one single word, but you can get so much meaning from them, and they help you get to know yourself. Those would be two big ones for me.
Sorry, before you please share your experience, I would like to ask you then, what is a word that for you is deeply meaningful to get to know yourself? You mentioned balance, but is there another word or
Feel.
Feel.
That's the biggest one, I would say. Feel.
Beautiful. Thanks. Please, Krzysztof, tell us how do you get to know yourself?
Yeah, I absolutely love the answer of Frate Hermano Jaco. Absolutely love it. I feel moved by it and I recognize it deeply. And I feel it the same. Like, the lesson is simple, the student is complicated. That's another quote I would share here. That everything is simple. And also what Steve Jobs was saying, like, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And the more concepts, it's just the mind. And the mind loves concepts, likes abstract theories. And simplicity does not appeal to the mind. And I feel like the things we're talking about and the things on the deeper level and the experience on the deeper level, it just cannot really be explained with words. And if it cannot be explained with words, it cannot be explained with concepts and theories, and I think it's the I'm just an endless quotes institute, right? So the only source of real knowledge is experience. That's one from Einstein, also summarizes it well. And also on that note, just look at this.
Beautiful
Our
words.
viewers cannot look at it, but there is geese flying around.
They will look at it. I'll include some post videos.
Beautiful, incredible. Just a lot of geese, ducks flying around. It's beautiful. And the three of them, it's just us taking flight. Anyway, everyone lives in their own world, So how I see the world is different. How you see the world, and none of us are wrong. None of us are right. We just are, and the reality that we live in, it just is. And I think that's closest to truth, in my feeling. And also there is this dilemma, and Rumi gives a potential answer to that, and I tend to believe in this answer that you are not a drop in the ocean, you are an ocean in a drop.
Whoa, I love this.
right? I think that
So
it's, and
beautiful.
also all the ways lead to Rome at the end of the day. I feel like all the religions, all teachings basically come down to the same conclusions, that we are one with
Yeah.
everything. And I feel like we already are complete and whole, but we just learn to build walls around our hearts, around us, around our minds, and just like live here and not here, or not fully embodied altogether. And then our mind develops at the age of around 7 or so, at the beginning of primary school, and then we just lost the touch with being. And I feel like children, kids, young kids, we were seeing some kids playing around before, and I love to watch kids sometimes, because for me it's just pure joy. They just are.
Mm.
They just embody being, and they are closest to truth than some guys who are, the wise men who know it all,
Mm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I feel deeply connected to certain people like you guys who have a bit of a different view than most of the society. Plus, also, I just sense, with kids like newborn kids, I just feel we are one, and we just share the same love, and me recognizing the love within the kid, and kid recognizing the love within me, and it's just this moment of connection.
Yeah.
So that might be my comment on that.
I would even add something. Maybe I would even quote you, and I don't know if you got this quote from someone else as Mr. CEO of Endless Quotes, but maybe you did, maybe not. But I remembered a few days ago or a few weeks ago, you told me, "We come here knowing everything, we just forget."
Yeah.
And I think that's really true. And I realized, damn. I mean, if you see the babies, toddlers, young kids, it seems like they're so much more connected with everything. Because when we come to this materialistic world, we tend to get absorbed into what we are not. And the point is to remember what we are, to realize what we are by seeing what we're not. And I think that's very cool.
Yeah, I love this quote. I know it's from Dan Millman, who I
Okay,
think
so
got it from
you
someone
quoted
else.
it somewhere,
Yes. But he says that we already are complete and whole. We already know everything that we have to know. We just tend to forget, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. I would even, to what you asked me before, I was thinking about it, and I would say, not just, well, maybe to expand on it, feel is ultimately very important, but since we come here knowing everything but we forget, we need to somehow direct our lives towards remembering all of these things, towards experiencing and therefore understanding and remembering these things. And I think the way to do that is by feeling, so that therefore you can connect. And connection, I would say, is another big word. So feel so that you can connect with yourself and with everything around, which is yourself. So I would say that.
I will still add a little comment on your comment, because I had this little poem collection published. Heart is the answer. That's how I called it, and the main.
Check it out.
But no. Check out the new stuff coming up, because that's really from the heart. And there I had some glimpses from the heart in this poem. Heart is the answer. That was also the name of the poem within that collection book called the same title. But this one really flew to me from elsewhere. I didn't come up with it. I just was a messenger. I really feel like that. But basically then at the end, I just paused for a moment, and I contemplated on the philosophy of contigo ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. But then I thought, that's bullshit. And then I said, sentio ergo sum. I feel, therefore I am. But now I came to the realization within this last few years that that's also bullshit. And now I would say, sum ergo sentio, or sum ergo contigo. I am, therefore I feel. I am, therefore I think. Just to wrap up this note.
They'll have to pause the video for a second to I think
maybe
process that.
Yeah.
I'll try to kind of give a more concise summary, and you guys tell me if it is correct or not. So basically, the way you kind of both get to know each other sorry, both to get to know yourself.
But also each other.
Yeah,
Because we are one. It's the same, the other me.
yeah. It's actually, actually, it's still valid. Yeah, it's by keeping life simple. Do not get so much sucked in these complicated theories and constructs of the mind. And the mind not as the brain and the skull, but the mind as the collective thought on thought ideas that we accumulate as we progress in life. And we can also say that a way to get to know yourself is to not only keep things simple, do not get into these endless paths, but also to feel. So to feel yourself. And maybe upon that I would like to expand. When you say feel yourself, you mean feel your emotions, feel your what is it that exactly you can feel within yourself, and that then you can use to understand who you are better. Maybe you would like to, if you guys would like to add on that.
I think you can feel everything, and that's gonna sound very vague and ambiguous, but yes, you can feel your emotions, but to feel your emotions you need to realize that you're feeling them, and then they're there. Otherwise you don't really get anything from them, because they're there, but you don't realize it. So I think it's important to stop and listen to yourself. Say, what am I feeling right now? And what does everything around me make me feel? And for example, I think of this setting where we are right now, and it makes me feel peace. I see everything, I see you guys, and what we're doing, what we're talking about, the wind and everything, it's peaceful. And as long as you just stop for a second and try to understand what you're feeling, what is... No, not really. You don't really need to think about what is causing that feeling, because you can, as we said at the beginning, everything can be a reason. But also, I don't think you need to be happy all the time, because part of living is feeling everything that comes, and many things you cannot really control. So as long as you're just an observer to what you're feeling and what everything else makes you feel, I think that's already enough to get to know yourself, without forcing any feelings of I need to be happy all the time, or I need to be peaceful all the time, because at that present moment that's not going to be yourself. I think knowing yourself is knowing yourself in the only time that exists, which is right now. And if right now you're feeling a certain way, you need to first of all recognize that, and second of all embrace it and accept it. And yeah.
And don't judge, just take it as it is. Don't judge, okay, I should be feeling this, I should be feeling that, I shouldn't be thinking that, you know? If it comes, it comes. It just is.
Yeah.
No good or bad. And if you put a label on it, that's already from the mind, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like you are not the mind, you are not the body, you are not your thoughts, you are not your feelings. You are the one who experiences all of that. You are in the observer's seat. You mentioned about observing. You are sitting there, chilling, you're watching a movie, you know? I wrote a poem one time as well, that you're watching a movie on the screen. The joy of your being. That's the title of your of the movie, or that was the title of the poem.
Get more distance in the mic.
Yeah, okay,
sorry, brother.
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry to have interrupted
It's okay.
you.
And then you're just there in the cinema. There is the cinema, there is the movie of your life playing. And you are the observer, but also in a way you are the director, because you have certain, or that's another topic, you know. Do you have free will or not, for example, to make the movie fall into your preference? But I feel like certain things are meant to be experienced, and if they come, they are perfect as they are. And the only choice we have is how will we react from it to whatever happens to us. I think the only choice we have is, do we take things and confront things with love, welcome things with love, or do we resist them with fear? Maybe I'm going a bit off topic here, but basically, I think this observer's seat perspective, that's the closest to truth, in my opinion, and living in the present.
What do you think?
Yeah, I I was really absorbed in listening, both to you and my mind. Also, a lot of noise in my mind.
Right now as well?
Yeah, but nothing, nothing unusual.
Okay.
Usual. No, no. Yeah, one thing I was wondering, yeah, is that there's moments when the feeling we experience are so strong, are so potent that you really almost forget how you're the experiences. You're experiencing them and you're not them. So that I am feeling sad becomes I am sad.
Hmm.
So that I am feeling angry becomes I am angry.
I
And
agree.
huh?
No, nothing. It was a bad joke. I said hi, angry.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah. It's pretty fantastic on what you were saying on how if you learn to understand that you are experiencing this feeling and that you're
Mm.
not directly these feelings, then you can create this kind of detachment. You can kind of get off the stage in the metaphor of the cinema. You can go and take a seat
Mm-hmm.
on the yeah, take a seat to watch what is going on. And then doesn't mean that the play stops. It just means that a very important character has took a step took a step back, and can now observe. And I think that is really beautiful. But I still acknowledge the fact that certain emotions, like it's not that easy. It is not that. It's simple. It's really simple. But in my personal experience, I find that my mind at times is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Let it be with with its thoughts or with the feeling my mind creates, that I go back on the stage, and then I go back at play, and then my job is to come back
Hmm.
continuously to the observer role,
Mm-hmm.
and continuously, and yeah, it's just like a yeah, it's a lifelong journey to get to know yourself, to
Mm-hmm.
get to feel your experience of life.
Yeah.
Literally, I don't think it will ever stop. And one thing I would like to ask some advice on you guys is sometimes that brings some frustration in me.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I get frustrated because I say, I know I am not my feelings. I know I am not my thoughts. But why do I keep always have to juggle between these two different realities? And
Like the being in the movie and observing.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
being the emotion and then realizing it's an
Mhm.
emotion, being the thought and then realizing it's a thought, and doing that so many times that yeah, sometimes I take it as a beautiful lesson, but at other times I construct it and maybe here's my mind that says, oh, you're still here, still trying to learn this simple lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. So I would like to
Yeah.
ask you guys,
Yeah.
how could somebody,
Yeah.
it might be me or someone else having the same struggle, or everybody, because maybe everybody is having the same struggle still. How can we face this incomplete realization? I will say incomplete understanding.
Yeah. So I will. Before I answer, I will ask a question.
Yeah.
To get to know a bit more of your point of view there.
Yes.
Because you said that, yeah, like you are aware, you know all these things, that you are not your feelings, your thoughts, but you're the one experiencing it. But sometimes you fell into the trap of falling into the, let's say, old patterns of
Mm-hmm.
becoming unconscious of that again,
Mhm.
and then you become identified with the thoughts or feelings that you
Exactly.
experience. Doesn't happen mostly with just negative thoughts and feelings, or are there particular situations where it happens, like some patterns that something activates within you, if you understand me?
Yeah, I know. I really understand this question. I think yeah, I think everybody has its patterns. Some are lighter, in a sense, more common. Some are more problematic. Again, problem is a thing coined by the mind, but
Mhm.
so I'm not sure if I feel comfortable in sharing all of my patterns, but definitely one, for instance, it was two days ago,
Yeah.
and it was a long time I was not having a sweet,
Yeah.
and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna have a sweet. But then
You had another sweet.
I had another sweet, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not really wanting this, and I'm still doing it, and I'm aware that I'm not wanting this, and I'm aware that it's my mind craving the sweet, but I still end up taking the sweet.
Mhm.
And I end up taking one more until I find myself having ate an entire bar of chocolate and feeling so bad
Yeah.
with myself, thinking, damn, bro, I was aware of this, but I did not manage to break the identification.
Mhm.
Or not so much break the identification, but to at least, yeah, because I was aware throughout the whole process. I was aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
But still, it was so strong, the emotion, that I got to engage in that behavior again and again.
But then afterwards, you had those realizations. Afterwards, you felt a bit bad or guilty, kind
Ah,
of, for
yes,
falling
definitely.
into being aware, but still doing it regardless. Or
Exactly, I
Mhm.
said to myself, I'm aware of my mind, aware of my feelings, but damn, bro, sometimes I just really suck, and I cannot afford to suck this much. This is
but
how.
was the chocolate good?
Honestly, maybe it was, but the problem is that I was so absorbed in the feeling, or at least maybe in observing the
Yeah.
feeling, that I could not give enough attention to tasting the chocolate.
Mm. Yeah. Because from my eyes, from my point of view,
Yeah.
as a listener, completely objective observer of your story there, and I could just try to imagine how it was. Mm, like, it seems that you're just blaming yourself for something you did, even though it might have felt good in the moment. But still, the chocolate might have been the best chocolate you ever ate, but you didn't maybe taste the chocolate even, because you were just thinking and battling with those thoughts, and should I do that or not? But I do it regardless, and and then you lost kind of the whole experience of it. You may not have tasted the chocolate, but in general, coming back more to your question earlier, um, I would say that there is no right or wrong, and all the emotions are there and thoughts are there as information. And once we become aware of them, and observe them more and more, and we become more conscious about them. And it's a journey, not a destination. It takes a lifetime of practice, but then once you catch yourself, okay, this is my mind talking, this is my feeling telling me this, then I think once you become more aware, more conscious of these patterns, they may eventually stop um, influencing your life or ruling your life.
Yeah.
So then you are in control, and not they don't control you anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about being aware and really observing without judgment. And that's super important, muy importante, molto
Yeah.
importante.
Thank you, Bra.
That
Yeah.
be without judgment, because when judgment comes, you can just follow into those unconscious patterns and go down the spiral, the void, because then, a simple thing that as you had with chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate is there supposed to make you happy or boost your mood a little bit, but for you it had the whole opposite effect because of your mind, right? And then you were like, oh, okay, I shouldn't be doing this. Oh fuck, I'm so unconscious I'm conscious about my patterns, but then I lost this battle with myself, and then you're judging, and then you're just going down and down, and okay, like, and then the more you think, the less you know, the less you think, the more you grow. And that's the greatest paradox known to humankind. But and I could go on about my poem, but yeah, I just feel like once there is judgment, you just fall into this spiral, and it's hard to come out of it at times, because then you're completely taken over. Why are you smiling?
I know, because what you were saying and what you were saying made me think of something very interesting, and I'm gonna share it with you guys.
Yeah, I saw it. So we are all ears now.
Yeah, no, you guys were talking about chocolate, and I thought maybe this relates to life itself, and I started relating it to
Okay.
it. And as you were speaking, I was like, damn, you know, eh, just with what you were saying just now, taste the chocolate. you know? Taste the chocolate. Imagine life as a chocolate, and you're just getting so caught up in these. Oh, but I'm here suffering, and my mind is this and that, but you didn't even taste the chocolate. Why don't you just taste the chocolate? Taste what life has to give you. There's so many reasons to smile, so many that there isn't really any reason to look for a particular reason. So if you just focus on feeling what you have in the present moment, which is tasting the amazingness of the chocolate, the answer will be there. I think that's it.
I think that's it as well.